And good morning. Well, we'd like to share, the two of us, for just a few moments about the process of the pastoral profile that you'll be seeing in a little bit. We wanted you to just know that the process was something that we felt was important. The board as a whole and our district superintendent, Dr. Browser, it guided us through some thinking, and then he suggested names, or he did not, but the board suggested names of people to come together in a task force committee to pull together this document, pastoral profile. The first thing that we did was decide, obviously, when to meet. And when you have 6 people, that's a challenge. But it actually became quite easy. We all left after the board meeting, and I know that I'm sure all of the members of the board, as well as our little task force of 6 people, kept in mind and had in prayer between the time we left to the time we met again, that God would just give us wisdom and give us ears of understanding each other, and be able to just present to us in our minds and hearts what he really wanted us to write, and to be able to hear and understand God's wisdom is what was on our hearts. So when we met together, as the 6 of us, we then first started with prayer, and I could almost immediately feel the presence of God right there in the room. It was Norm's office, and so we were all in his, I think, small office. And I was just so thrilled that we were able to just have God's presence there, as he is always there with us, but I sense that. And so we wanted to know what was going to guide our thoughts. Well, one of the things besides the prayer, Brian spent many hours before meeting during that week. Brought to us a page of Bible verses that really related to the scriptures about pastoral care. You want to say anything more about that? I just did a good job. Okay. And so we had scriptures to pull from that were from God's Word immediately, and all of us just so appreciated Brian doing that. It just set the foundation to what we were going to write. And as we'd make statements, we'd say, oh, but this Bible verse is just right for that. And so it was a wonderful process to go through. So you have Brian to thank for that just deep foundation that you have given us.
You have the Bible to thank for that.
Well, but you were open to it. The other thing that was important for us was the survey that all of you filled out. And that gave us an idea of what you were thinking, what you were feeling, and how God was guiding your mind and heart. And then, of course, prayer throughout. I know that all of you were praying, I'm sure, for just the board as a whole to help this process to go well. The team, I felt, had this sense during the time we met, a sense of openness with each other. We came from a lot of different types of thinking, but as we would talk about each principle and guidance, it was amazing how we came together in just one accord. We were unified in our hearts and in our minds as to what would need to be said. And one person would say one thing, and then we would just add to it. And it was a wonderful way of being able to experience how God works with a group of people, bringing together a wonderful document that I think you will see is something important for us as we move forward in selecting our pastor. Now it's your turn.
So the people that were on our group, and some of them are with us today, and if they could stand up, Kay was on the group, Larry Orwig was on the group, Dave Shepard was on the group, Trish Hillard, Chris King, and myself. And it didn't set out this way, but we ended up having a really great diversity on the group. Everyone from people in their 30s up to people Larry's age.
You didn't say my age.
Larry's much older. We had married, unmarried, young kids, grown kids. We had the full gamut of people on that. We finished up the document, and we did some editing on it, and we brought it to the leadership board meeting this past week, and your leadership board looked it over, and they unanimously approved it. One of the comments that one of the board members said was that it looked like it was a profile from someone who could have been a pastor in the distant past, someone who could be our pastor right now, and someone into the future. Because it's not based on our current needs or opinions; it's based on God's word. So where you can find the profile, at the end of today, we're going to be passing some out. Also, you will get, you get the emails that Norm sends out that you may or may not ever read, but it will be in those emails as well, and of course, it'll be on our website. The next step for us is to try to identify some candidates. And some of you who've been around the Nazarene Church for a while, you may have names of people who you think would be a perfect candidate for us. And so starting next week, we're going to have an opportunity on the Crossroads response card to write down a name. And if you don't know anybody who's a Nazarene pastor other than people who work here, that's okay too, because we'll find someone who does know that. So at the end of our service day, we can be looking for those profiles in the back.
Thank you.
And if I could just add just a couple things. So not only will it be on the website this afternoon, but over the next 2 weeks, you'll be able to give those names. Doreen or someone in the back, there will be a box where you can put your suggestions, or if you would like to, you can email them to me. I'll be the only one that sees them before we give them to Dr. Bowser. So please don't send it to the church, send it to me personally, and we'll go forward. But we want to be accessible and available to answer any questions. So whether you see board members or myself and you're like, hey, when was I supposed to fill that out? Please ask them and they'll direct them in the right way. Thank you guys so much.